Get the crusher out. Is this the crusher right here? Is this the crusher? So, the Linville Crusher. Top Rope Tough Guy Edition. I wanted to make a climbing video from the perspective of somebody who's pretty average. I am probably the most mediocre of mediocre climbers. Okay, so take that for what it's worth as you watch this content. This is also intended to be for people who are planning on following the Crusher or doing it with a guide. This should help you be at least prepared for your adventure and what to expect. Or if you just thought about doing this and wanted a good look at it, I hope you can find some things to take away. If you are planning on leading this, I think this might be just entertaining. Maybe give you, I don't know what you're gonna get from this, but I just maybe you laugh at me, maybe you laugh with me, whatever you want. Leave it in the comments. I just want to tell you what I did, what made me successful, where I felt like I fell a little short. You know, just what made the day a success. I thought the day was a success, so I wanted to share about it. I also feel like there's some value in sharing some failures, so I'll talk about that too. But anyway, let's get into it. So what is it? The Crusher is a massive link up in the Linville Gorge. It's about 15 miles of running and or hiking along a ridge line. And along the way, you climb one route on each of the 6 major features in the gorge. Those major features are Sitting Bear, Hawksbill, Table Rock, the Carolina Wall, the Amphitheater, and Short Off. The Crusher, for all intents and purposes, is roughly 7,000 feet of elevation gain. The Crusher was first done in 1999 by Jay Young and Chris Verstegen. The fastest person to do it was Jason Bryant. He did this in 2023 after picking up climbing in 2020. He was a track coach and he did it in 4 hours and 32 minutes. The route features the first ascents of Bob Mitchell, Bob Gillespie, Steve Longnecker, Tommy Howard, and other Carolina climbing legends. That's why it is so special. And when I say that this is the Gumby version of this climb, I freaking mean it. We did it the easiest way possible, but it was still awesome. It was so awesome, here I am awkwardly making a video about it. One thing I took note of before embarking on this and before I get into me is the person with the fastest Crusher time was a track coach. I think that tells you everything you need to know about getting ready for this. So let me give you a little bit about my fitness so you can compare yourself or check and adjust or whatever you need to do. I hope it helps. My fitness primarily comes from running and rock climbing. Outside, I would say I'm comfortable climbing at about 5'7", and I can follow probably 5'10". I struggle a little bit with that, but that's kind of where I'm at. Inside climbing, I would say I'm at 5'11" or B, maybe a C on a good day. I don't know if that helps you or not. Maybe that helps, but that's where I'm at. I have dabbled in lots of stuff. So I've dabbled in ice climbing, and when it's in here, I try to get out. I've dabbled in mountaineering, and I really love mountaineering. I love the big adventure. I love preparing for it. And I kind of just like big, grandiose things, honestly. Like the longer the route, the more fun I think it is, even though that can be kind of torture sometimes. So that's kind of what I set myself up for. And those are the things that I train for. I try to run 50 miles or so a month, and then if I'm training for something like this, I start to ratchet that up to maybe like 100, depending on what the activity is. For this Crusher, I did get up to around 100 in the month of March, and then I think in February it was kind of starting to gear up. And I really start to specify about 2 months prior. Training for the New Alpinism, I will reference that book a lot. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is right from there. So if you want really good context, follow their content, Uphill Athlete or Training for the New Alpinism. Honestly, that's just kind of been my Bible for a couple of years now. I do use a Garmin to map a lot of my activities, so I'll show you that as it relates to this. I did use a Garmin to map the Crusher. It was a little odd about the elevation gain. It turns out that it did not map the rock climbing. I will show you the Garmin stuff anyway as it relates. So what I did to prepare for this specifically that I think made me successful. So quickly, and all the goodies up front, because I hate when people drag this stuff out, so I want to give it to you. 2 months prior, I started being intentional about running more, and they're chill runs. So zone 2 or zone 1 runs that are longer. For me, I said I'm 38-ish years old, so for me that's about 140 to 150 heart rate, and I try to stay there for an hour, and I do that about 3 to 5 times a week while I'm starting to train. And they're chill runs. I can usually climb the same day I do these runs. In addition to that, I started turning it up in the gym. I started trying to climb harder, and I started to climb more and climb longer. And if I had to go to bouldering sessions before I would climb with my friends, I would do that. But that was like getting more volume in rock climbing was something I did intentionally, and I do think that helped me. For me, my shortcoming is rock climbing, so I put a bigger focus on that. So my strategy and the place I chose to focus on this round was the rock climbing, and I found that helped me a lot. I got stronger legs. In general, I try to get stronger legs and really hone in on that 2 months prior. And I say 2 months, if you don't have a big cardio base, you might need to start earlier. 2 months prior, I do a lot of Stairmaster, squats, single leg squats to try to work on my balance and just try to get my legs stronger. Weighted Stairmaster is good. Weighted treadmill, like with a backpack or something. And of course, weighted hikes are the best. That's probably the best thing you can do. And then big days in the mountains. Big days in the mountains, try once a week starting 2 months prior at least. Once a week, try to get out and have a big day. If you can't get out and have a big day, try to have a big long run, like a 3-hour run or something. Just anything where you're kind of moving consistently. The big days in the mountains helped me with endurance, and they've helped me mentally, like prepare for having a really like a 12-hour day. It's nice to practice that. It takes some patience to have a big long day, and it's always a good thing. Just work it in your training. It's the most important thing. Don't skip it. Don't skip it. Don't skip it. For me, if I skip these days, I suffer. So I try to really stick to have a big day in the mountains or have a big long run. And in this case, I would do a big long run, and then I would also try to go climb. So I would do like a 12-mile run or something, and then I would try to climb in the same day. And that really helped me. That helped me a lot. So I'd advocate for that. Climbing outside, big thing. I try to climb outside as much as I can. It ended up being like once a week or something for the past month or two. And the more you can climb outside, the better. The last thing that really helped me was hiring a guide. I hired a guide. I have no shame in hiring a guide. I will advocate that forever. Wes has sort of become my coach or my mentor, and my climbing journey is a slow one where I soak in as much as I can and learn as much as I can. And for that reason, I just really appreciate climbing with a guide, with the intention of I want to learn to be able to do this on my own eventually. I want to be competent on my own, and I feel really good about learning from a guide to do that. So that was really the final thing that I will add that I did well in preparation for this. Hopefully you can take what you want from that and adapt it. Now let me tell you where I failed. Coming into this, I had only climbed 2 of the routes on the Linville Crusher, the Prow and the North Ridge. And those are 2 of the easiest routes on the entire thing. Don't do that. I really struggled on Star Trekking, and I did struggle on the original route, Sitting Bear. And those were the first 2. Now, I did get a cramp on Star Trekking, so that didn't help me out. But honest to God, if I could do it again, and I will do it again, I would definitely go back and climb Star Trekking and work that out. Sitting Bear, it's really 1 or 2 tough moves, so I feel like I could go back and do that again and probably be fine. But star trekking is one that I just want to have back and work on, and I wish I had done it before. And when I do this again, I'm gonna pick different routes, and I'm definitely gonna work those before I go and put them all together. I think that's smart, and if you do it with a guide, I think that's really smart too. It'll help you climb them efficiently and better, and get really good feedback on how to make the moves, and watch someone do it with really great efficiency. And that's just the value there. Now let's get into what you need. Now I'm going to tell you I followed it. I'm not going to get into the gear because I didn't lead it, and I don't feel like that would be right. What I brought as someone who followed it was a PAS. I brought a personal anchor system, which I really didn't use. I just had it just in case we had to rappel. I brought 3 beaners. I brought the Prusik. I brought an ATC. I brought a Gree. That's what was on my harness. I had approach shoes, which I climbed the North Ridge and the Prowl in. And I had my helmet. I had a headlamp. I had a 1 liter water bottle. It's going to be important later. Gloves, just in case I didn't use them. And food. Food, like a lot of food. And that's a big deal. And that's pretty much it. The other thing that we did well was water. There's not a lot of water on that ridge line. And like maybe if it's wet, and it wasn't, it was dry. I was I'm skeptical. I went in skeptical. We did the water perfectly. You need 1 liter of water with a filter. I used a platypus, and that thing was perfect. And I usually bring 2 liters. I'm prone to cramps. I'm from Florida. I always like bring more water than I need. I brought 1. We filled up at the gully going down to the amphitheater, and then again when we got to the top of the Prowl, and then there's another drip near the gully of Short Off. And all 3, it's like great places to stop really quick, fill up water, eat some food, and go. So that was another thing we did really well. Water, 1 liter, get it on the trail. So food, I do wish I had a little bit more electrolytes, but other than that, I bring a sandwich of some kind. In this case, it was like a pre-wrapped Italian hoagie thing that I got from the grocery store. And then I brought a bunch of protein bars. I think I brought 5 protein bars. I brought 6 beef sticks. I had this electrolyte gum. I had like 8 pieces of it, and that really helped me. And that's about it. And I did well. I actually finished with half the sandwich and a protein bar and a beef stick or 2. The route, what we chose. Okay, so what we chose is our route for the Crusher. It's different for probably everybody. When I say we chose the easiest route possible, it was the easiest route possible. We did the original route at Sitting Bear. On Hawksbill, we did Star Trekking. On Table Rock, we did the North Ridge. In the amphitheater, we did the Mummy, and then we climbed out the Prowl. We did not climb Bumblebee Buttress in the Carolina Wall because of the Peregrine Falcon closure. At Short Off, we did Little Corner. So I'm going to show you a bunch of really crappy GoPro footage and very bad climbing from me, and probably some very good climbing from Wes. So we started at 7:15. You go up Sitting Bear, which I had never been to. So the day before, I did come out and check it out. And it's beautiful rock. It's a really interesting rock that's just like this pinnacle in the middle. It's just like, it's cool. And there's a vantage point where it looks like a bear. So you hike up there. I think like from your car to that, it's like, I think it's under a mile. We were at the base by 7:30. So Sitting Bear, good firm initiation to this the whole day. There's a big move right off the start. That was tough. It's like kind of like a sort of like a roof pool, and then you get up to some slab, and it's just like classic North Carolina slab. The climbing, it hits you, kind of punches you right in the face a little bit if you know you're not ready for it. That's one, you got to get on that before you go out there for the Crusher. I did not. This was my first stab at it, and it was tough. It was tough. We were there for 22 minutes. So then you hike run. We were like hike running to Star Trekking, which is on Hawksbill. I think it took us about 30 minutes-ish to run to Hawksbill, and then we were there for 1 hour. We were there for an hour at Hawksbill. And let me say that for me was the hardest part of the day. And it was the second thing we climbed. It was not the hardest hike. That was for me the hardest climb. You know, I got through what is considered the crux move, and then, you know, got on top, and I was like, okay, great. We got through the hard part. That was hard, but fine. And then the second pitch, my legs started cramping up for some reason.
Oh shit, dude. Fucking cramps.
And it just made the first move off the ledge to that jug so freaking hard for me to move my leg up to it. And man, it just, that route really, like, it was just hard. And that's why I keep saying you want to climb these things before you go do it, because that one was like a real shock to my system. So it took us an hour to climb that one. Then you run down off Hawksbill. From Hawksbill to Table Rock is a little bit of a haul. And so you go down Hawksbill, which is pretty steep, and then you get on the road, you go to Spence Ridge, and you go up to Table Rock, and the North Ridge is kind of right there. But that trip is a little more than 3 miles. I think it's closer to 4 miles. That took us in total an hour and 15 minutes. Now for me, I slowed down there because my legs were still kind of cramping from Star Trekking. So I started following the North Ridge at 11:18, and we summited it at 11:30. The North Ridge, awesome climb. We simul-climbed it. It's a jug haul, very flowy, very beautiful. I really enjoyed that. I've climbed it before, pitched it out, but this was different. Simuling it was just so much fun, so fast. After we summited North Ridge, it's about a mile down to the Table Rock parking lot. So we got to the Table Rock parking lot by 11:55 or about noon. And then from there, it's another 2 miles to the amphitheater. So we got to the amphitheater trailhead by 12:21. And from there, you start down the approach trail to the amphitheater. And then on the way in the gully, we stop for water. And that's the first water stop. And it's great. After we got water, we headed over to the Mummy. The approach to the Mummy is different now. I think if you've been there, because there's a couple down trees from Helene in there, and I think that made getting there a little slower. But you know, once you get on it, the Mummy kind of has a funny move to start. But we simuled the Mummy, and it was beautiful. I've never climbed the Mummy. This was my favorite route of the day for sure. And I might have gone a little slow on it. I might have enjoyed it a little too much, because when we got to the top of it, Wes got on me and told me I needed to move faster. So we did. So from the Mummy, we wrapped back down, ran over to the prow, and we went up the prow as fast as we can. I think we did the prow in like 15 minutes or something. It was fast. We're at the top of it. We got water again before our next long hike. It was about 2:21 when we were getting water. And then we started our long hike to Short Off. And that's about 5 miles. And you go down and then you go back up Short Off. But that, to me, was not the longest part of that. To me, the longest part was when you get on top of Short Off, you kind of go on the ridge for just, it feels like a very long time. And it feels like the bulk of the hike at that point. It's flat, it just feels like it goes on forever. At the end of the 5 miles, you finally come to a little water hole, like a little stream that crosses over the trail. And it's a great little spot to fill up water, so we did. And then you head down, and then from there we headed down the gully, and we wrapped down to the foot of Little Corner. That hike took us about 2 hours total, and then another like 30 minutes or so to get down to the climb. And the climb took us 1 hour, and I was moving slow at that point. We climbed Little Corner in 3 pitches. We did pitch it out, and my GoPro died on like the very start of it, so I really don't have very much footage of it, unfortunately. But I really did enjoy it. I feel like there's a lot of ways you can climb that thing, and I did feel like, ooh, I could come back and probably lead this one. We looked at Maginot Line, and we both said that would probably not be fun right now. And so we finished off on Little Corner. I'm really glad we did that because I do feel like I could actually lead that one later. And it gave me something like the Mummy. I really want to go back and lead, and Little Corner, I think I could lead that too. And it gave me this gave me a lot of confidence to say, yeah, I could lead these. I could do this. So for that, I'm glad we did it, because managing the line might have been a little too much at the end of the day. And honestly, my takeaway from doing this on the easier routes is I have something I can go back to, feel like I can go back to, and want to go back to. What made this successful for me is we finished it, and B, I want to go back and do it again, and I will go back and do it again. And now I have a good goal of I can, in the next couple of years, hopefully lead this thing. And I feel like that's attainable because of the way we did it. After we summited short off at about 6:45, and it was really beautiful up there. You know, the sun's setting, and we got up there, and it's time to run down. So it's another about a mile down, and it is straight down. And I think it was more than a mile. Honestly, it felt like more than a mile, but it took us about 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes, because we got down by 7:15 and we finished like right under 12 hours. And that was awesome. That's what we wanted to do. So that was the day. It was beautiful. To wrap this all up, I would just say it really was one of my favorite days in the mountains. Can't recommend it enough. It's home. It's a special place to me, to a lot of people in North Carolina. I would highly recommend Appalachian Climbing School. Wes Calkins, would recommend him. Local legend, great climber, has a lot of cool first ascents, has great stories, just an all-around great person. I do hope that this helps you if you're looking at it or thinking about it. I just want this to help people have an approach to this thing that makes it either attainable for you or gives you a way to think about it or strategize about it from a perspective of a mere mortal Gumby climber.